Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. This is part 2 of the MK2 Audi TT Misfire. So at this stage we know we've got a coded misfire on cylinder 1. We've got good equal pressure on the cylinders after doing a compression test. We removed the spark plug and the coil pack. Noticed the spark plug was soaking wet, so we changed that with the coil pack. Tried to start the engine again with no success. So now we've got to remove the inlet manifold and pull those injectors. Maybe cylinder 1 is stuck open and over fueling. Well, that's what I'm hoping anyway. So I'm going to make a start by disconnecting the battery, and then I'll release the fuel pressure from the high pressure fuel regulator. There's a little valve there, so I'll be releasing the pressure from there, and then removing any associated fuel lines from the manifold, the evap lines, unplugging the evap, the vacuum lines. We'll be removing the throttle body and the associated hoses and boost pipes below the unit there, just to give us a bit more room. The oil dipstick needs to be removed, as well as a bracket beneath the throttle body. I believe is a multi-spline screw, as well as a 30mm nut to remove there, as well as 9 Torx 30 screws along the inlet manifold, top and bottom, 9 altogether, and 2 10mm nuts, one on each corner of the lower corners of the manifold, and another 10mm nut holding the bracket on just there. And then I think we'll be close to being able to remove the inlet manifold. So let me get started. So you want to lift up your boot trim panel, and located beneath there you'll find your battery. So let's remove the plastic cover over the top, and there you'll see the negative terminal. So we just want to take a 10mm spanner, slacken that off, and remove that terminal connector. There we are, and we'll tuck it behind the battery safely. And now we'll start with removing the PCV hoses and the crankcase breather pipes. Get them removed because they are really brittle, so we don't want to damage those, as well as this little skinny one here. So just removing the oil breather pipe here, a couple of pinch clips either side of the pipe, both sides, lightly press those in and it should just pull away. Same thing here for the crankcase breather pipe, exactly the same style, just press the 2 clips in and then pull it away from the PCV unit. Here I'm just removing the fuel cap release valve cover, and then underneath there's a valve similar to like your car tyre. So I'm just going to place a container underneath to catch the excess fuel, and I've got a multi-tool piece, just locating the pin inside just to release that extra fuel pressure. And I'm using a pair of pliers here just to try and get a grip of that securing clip, and then I'll remove the evap hose off the rail. Same thing this side, just place a little container underneath the fuel line, and be very careful when removing this because there will be more than likely a little bit of retaining fuel in the system there. Just here there's a little hard pipe linkage bracket held on by a 10mm screw bolt. And then again with the 10mm spanner as a 10mm nut underneath the oil dipstick. So I had to grab a long reach 7mm socket here to reach down up to the Jubilee clips holding on all of the boost pipes. So the one from the intercooler needs slackening off, and then the 2 above the one from the throttle body, and then the one from the hard pipe, and then the hard pipe itself, and all that pipe work. Just trying to give myself as much room as possible in there. It's really easy to remove the pipe work, so I haven't filmed it. Just trying to keep this clip nice and short for you guys. Here I'm removing the hard pipe fixings, the 10mm nut at the top, and then there's a T30 down below, plus there's a sensor you need to unplug on this, and then simply just pull all the pipe work out, guys. There we are, guys. Throttle body off, inlet pipes off, plenty of room. Now you can see that bracket we're dealing with underneath the manifold, 30mm bolt and a multi-spline piece there. So we'll have to remove the oil dipstick to get access to that multi-spline. So we'll whip them off next. To remove the oil dipstick screw, you need a 4mm socket. And once that's unscrewed, you can simply swing the oil dipstick frame around into a more comfortable position, then just pull on it strongly and it should pop straight off. Here I've got a 13mm spanner and I'm removing that nut, as you can see. Really easy now. So that screw holding on the bracket underneath, the M10, I found the only way to get that unscrewed without removing the coolant hard pipe going to the thermostat housing was to put a long reach M10 spline tool in there. Don't know if you can see that. And then break it off using a 10mm spanner, and it worked. So that has saved loads of effort. So there we are, look, you see that? Perfect. Nice little tip there. Now we should be able to just lift that bracket out of the way. There we go. Here I'm unplugging the vacuum lines on the right hand side of the manifold. I've already pre-removed the clip there, as you've probably noticed, just to make things a bit speedier. Now using the trusty T30 long reach, we're going to start removing all of the inlet manifold bolts. You guys probably get the idea, but I'm just trying to give you an example of the locations where you need to be with this. Not as much as important as this bit. So these little windows here are for the lower bolts, as you can see. Can be quite awkward. So just make sure you don't drop them down in the engine bay and lose them. A bit of a Frankenstein concoction here, guys, but it's all I had lying around just to get the reach for them M10s on the low corners. Time to pull the inlet manifold. So you want to get a really good firm grip both sides of the unit and just give it a really good tug, guys. I mean, don't be shy, it needs to be pulled out. And as it's freed, just slow everything right down, because bear in mind all the injectors will be plugged in still beneath. Well, I did notice at this stage that the high pressure fuel valve needed removing. So to remove the high pressure fuel pump, you need to remove this brass screw first, and that will give you access to the T30 screws beneath it. So you want to free all of the T30s off, and as you're unscrewing, just hold the pump back a little bit, because it may be under spring pressure, so it'll just stop it firing out. And now to fully extract the manifold from the block, free the injectors from the block, and then at this stage you're going to be checking for the electric wiring loom beneath the manifold. There's 3 parts of this wiring loom are connected to the inlet manifold by little clips. So you just want to reach underneath, try and get a visual, pop all 3 of those connectors, and then you'll be able to physically rotate the manifold backwards to get access to the injector terminals and unplug all 4 of those. There we go, a little bird's eye view of those clips I was talking about. Really simple when you see them. With the manifold out the way, good time to have a little look round and check around, make sure everything's where it needs to be, everything's plugged in, and a good inspection of the intake valves. So these are notorious for building up with carbon, and unfortunately this is one of the worst examples. So I've already picked away at 2, 3 and 4, as you can see there. They're not exactly that bad at this stage, but I'm still going to give them a thorough cleaning, because it'll only improve the longevity of the engine's health. But number 1, I mean, I don't really know what's going on with number 1. Looks like somebody's been having a barbecue down in there. I'll put up some better pictures, because as you all know, it's terrible to get a good view of the valves. So yeah, I'll put up some pictures, guys. So the next stage, I'm going to get these intake valves cleaned over. 2, 3 and 4 already seem to be closed, so I'm going to be working on them first. We'll cover up number 1, and when those 3 are done, we'll rotate the engine over down on the crank until number 1's closed, and then we shall work on that one. So I went and grabbed myself some pick tools, cost £2, bit of brake and clutch cleaner, and I let these valves soak for a little bit, and then I hoovered out the liquid and then merely scraped away the carbon, and they are loads better, guys. They're looking great. Check that out. It's taken a couple of hours, but I feel as though it's been well worth it. Quite therapeutic, but I'm more than happy with those. I think they're good to go. So I've got to turn the engine over now by hand. So right there, I've got a 21mm socket fitted on the end of the crank bolt, ready to rotate the engine forwards. The moment these valves close, then I can begin to work removing all of that carbon deposit, what's inside of it. But they are very slightly open, not that you can tell. So when you think the valves are closed, spray a bit of brake cleaner or put a bit of petrol inside the valve housing there, and just see if it holds the liquid. And if it does hold it, you know the valve's seated. There's no way I'm going to be able to show you the full clean, unfortunately, guys, but if I just put a screwdriver in there now and just tease this carbon away, you'll see what we're dealing with. I mean, it's just chunks of it stuck on there. Look at that. Look at that. Just nice and gently, just teased it away. And then go to the scrapers and then just slowly, gently, just scrape it off the valves, guys. And try not to score the valve or damage anything internally. Just don't be too forceful, just do it nice and gently, and hoover it out, spray it with brake cleaner, let it soak, hoover the brake cleaner out, and just keep repeating the process until you're left with clean valves. And now, while the inlet manifold's off, I'm going to check for any damage, any splits in the pipework, check the motors functioning and the linkage system up to the inlet flap system. So there we are, that's working fine. So merely looking at it, there's just a little bit of filth to remove around the fronts of the ports. I'll get a brush and some cleaner and we'll remove all the excess oil and debris. Make sure there's no grit and filth ingressed into the seal. It's advised to change the seal. However, this one's looking like it's already been changed. It's still got the raised lips on there and it's very flexible still. So I'm going to be putting this one back on. So we'll also be cleaning the inside of the fuel rail ports where the injector sits, because there's no point getting the injectors cleaned up if we're just going to leave all of this debris and filth inside there. So I'll get a cotton bud, we'll wipe the insides of those ports out as well, get this looking like new, and then we'll get the injectors prepared for putting back into the block. As you can see guys, the pre-test shows something was clearly wrong, but after the refurb and clean, you can see that they're fully operating now, and I've got quite equal levels. Yes, the injectors are ready to be reassembled. So I weighed up the pros and cons of different service providers from buying new to a clean and refurb, but taking into account communication, reliability and availability and cost, I found a local injection service which was 5-star on every level. The Injector Expert Pontefract. And they actually look like brand new. Marius, you've done an excellent job here. Absolutely stunning. New seals in place, both sides. New cage. And they are absolutely spotless. New baskets. Excellent work, Marius. So let's get these in the car. So before I put the injectors back into the engine block, I just want to take some brake cleaner on a cotton bud and just clean out the openings, make sure there's no debris or dirt or grit in there, but as you can see guys, it's full of it, so just make sure they're nice and clean. And now we're ready to reinstall the injectors. So be very wary of putting these back in that you don't damage that white seal. Just try and keep it as horizontal as possible and keep the plug at 45 degrees down facing. Just like that guys. And we'll put all 4 of those in and then we'll put in the electric loom. Now placing the wiring harness for the injectors and plug 1 to 4 injectors in, and then just leave the other plugs till the end, but don't forget to plug them all back in guys. When reinstalling the inlet manifold, it should go in really easy. Just keep an eye out that there's not any obstructions in the way, and it should just slide straight into position, and then give it one final shove to get the injector seals into place. Something to bear in mind when reassembling the inlet manifold is the wiring harness for the injectors. There's that plastic wiring harness coupling there, and there's some locating tabs just off it there, look, what connect to the rails underneath the inlet manifold. So they have to be absolutely perfect when lining it up. Other than that, pretty straightforward. Now I'm ready to refit the fixing bolts to the manifold. So we'll get all those in position, tighten them up by hand, and then I looked up, the actual torque setting was 10 Newton meters for these particular bolts. So I haven't recorded that, but I have done it. I didn't cover the removal of the crankcase breather pipe, but as you can see here, it's fed in from the top to the bottom. So basically the reversal for removal, guys. And it must be the right way to do it because it goes in with ease. Just removing the tape off each of the hoses here and then reapplying them back onto the manifold. And then as I'm going, I'll be re-plugging in all of the electrical connectors and any other components that need to be refitted. Just double check everything as you're going, guys. It's very easy to miss something at this stage. coil dipstick going back in, complete opposite to the removal process I showed you earlier in the video, guys. Really straightforward. So just push that into position, swing it round into the locating area, fit the metal bracket underneath, and then reapply the 4mm screw. Apologies I didn't show you the removal of the throttle body, guys, but I did such a bad job it just physically wasn't watchable. So 4 T30 screws holding it in, and when that's in, put all the pipe work back in place. So I'm about to start it, guys, fingers crossed, nervous as hell. I have turned on the ignition for 5 minutes twice over just to self-calibrate everything. Apparently that's the manual way for the throttle body to recalibrate. I haven't got VAGCOM, so I've had to do it the manual way. So wish me luck. Nervous as hell. So before, the engine was shaking all over the place. I'm hoping for a lot smoother engine ride this time. Here goes nothing. Very much expected at this stage for it not to start. There'll still be a lot of air in the system we need to fully flush out, guys, until the fuel gets to the injectors. That is a smooth cold start. I think it's done it, guys. Happy days. Wicked. I can't believe it. I was actually expecting the worst and for it to be rocking all over the place still, but happy with that. Wow. Yes. Humming like a bird. Absolutely perfect. No pops, no bangs. There we are, guys. It's not operating at full temperature just yet, but the cold start's over and the engine is barely moving. That's me shaking with excitement. Let me just hold my phone steady. There you go, look, guys. Well happy with that. Couldn't be happier. 2 days of labour and we got there. Success. Thanks for watching, guys.